just probably the easiest way to do is just save them to the end, and then we'll, happy to take questions then. Probably the 3 or 4 key, 3 or 4, I guess, main products I use for masking is having a good variety of different size tape. Different sizes just makes things a little bit quicker and easier when masking up. Not essential. Obviously, you can get one of these bigger sizes. You can always cut it down to shape, which a lot of the time you have to cut the shape depending on what you're doing anyway. Some newer stuff that's actually come out in the last few years. This white tape will actually allow you to also do curves and stuff, which I'll show you shortly. The next key one is good old blue tack. Available for a couple of dollars. Grocery shop, reject shop, news agents. And then probably some stuff, a little bit more expensive, but very, very useful and highly recommended for your model benches, your liquid mask. I've moved to the 502. I used to use the Humbrol mask oil, but just find it dries a bit too quick and has issues and stuff coming off your brush onto your model. This stuff I found is a little bit more refined. Doesn't dry as quick on your brush. And just generally find it applies a little bit better. I think a bottle, what's that, 100 mils, is going to cost you about, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 bucks from B&A, a shop like that anyway. And it's quite a large bottle, 100 mils. I've had that for a good 12 months or so and haven't even touched the size yet. And probably another cool thing that's kind of been on the market only the last couple of years is your Panzer Putty. This stuff is very, very good for masking as well. I use it, usually use a combination sometimes between this and blue tack. Reason being, your Panzer Putty is quick and easy to apply around your finer detail and stuff, but it's easily removed from the model, I guess, as well. So it's easy to bump and move and stuff as well. So I guess I use a combination of both, just depending what I'm using and what I'm trying to paint. I guess some other useful things. I can't, recommend enough a piece of cheap glass. I use this for 2 main things, which is masking and for cutting out photo etch. Difference from using the glass to your cutting mat, it gives you a harder and smoother surface. If you try cut out masking tape and stuff on your cutting mat, it's going to push it into your cutting mat and not get a nice clean cut. Same as when I'm cutting photo etch and stuff out as well. If you're trying to cut it out with a knife or stuff on your cutting mat, you're just going to push the etch and bend it into your cutting mat. So piece of cheap glass, I think it's out of a $5 photo frame, I think, from the reject shop, and serves well for photo etch and cutting out masks. In saying that, some other tools which are helpful, so you're not scratching paint. I think, what's this from? It's just a plastic texture applicator from it looks like Games Workshop Citadel. That being plastic, when you're burnishing your tape to the model, pushing down blue tack, etc., you're much more or less likely to scratch it as opposed to using your tweezers and stuff, which you might be using to apply the tape with initially. In saying that, still highly recommend a good set of pointed tweezers for applying and removing masks. And then obviously we spoke about before. I think with the rigging and stuff, I've also got a good set of little small scissors for cutting out tape and etc. And a good sharp knife. So other things useful are templates. I've used these ones a few times. I just put them back in the packet so they're easy to find in the bottom of your toolbox and stuff. Resealable bag, but you can put your mask down on your sheet of glass. If you need to cut out shapes for masking, etc., You can apply the template over the top and run your sharp knife around the outside to cut those out. I guess some other products that are out there, which you know, if you're in the position to be able to do it, like these are probably the cheaper options I've shown you so far. That, you know, if you're able to, and you know, time applies, and you can find them. Like my most recent project on my C130, I actually found a Camo Master. These are becoming more and more common. I forget where this one's from, or the company's originated, but some of these are actually now coming, and they're also reusable. So during the weathering painting process, I've had to apply them and reapply them a couple of times, and they're still holding their stick adhesiveness quite well. But yeah, those sort of things are available out there as well. So, you know, if you think you know, you're not comfortable, you know, trying to mask yourself or whatever, and you know, in the position to be able to afford something like this, you know, they're available for your models as well now. Some other useful things which you can find are these tenure sheets. This one's a plain one. They also come in another two formats which have small triangles in various sizes as they get larger, and small circles are similar. I do have the triangle one, which I can't find at the moment. It's very handy for the initial phases of masking canopies and stuff. But I think you normally get about 5 sheets in these. And the pre-cut one, yeah, like I said, the triangle ones are very handy for like the corners of canopies and stuff. You can initially mask those, and then revert back to your standard tape to fill the rest in of the edges, and then, you know, the middle bit, if you want to be quick and get a job done, is fill the middle gap in with your normal mask, or like normal. That's great. No worries. Is there any questions yet on the products before I can, yeah, I guess show you how some of the stuff works? No? Great.
Actually, Peter, I'll throw my 2 bobs worth in. Rather than use a sheet of glass, I've actually got a high gloss ceramic tile.
Yep.
That I cut onto. A little less dangerous.
Oh yeah, I've never had an issue with glass breaking or anything. Ceramic tile is exactly the same thing. It's a hard clear base.
Yeah, that works well.
Yeah, well, that would work well too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that a comment about concerned about the glass?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably a suggested thing is if you can find one of those tempered glass placemats that you do see on eBay or in some of the kitchen and homeware shops, they will be even better than that, and they will be quite tough. And that's what I use myself, one of those. But yeah, but the picture frame one will work.
Yeah.
Does anyone else use any different products? Well, I'm just get a new knife blade, so I've broken this one. Well, we're talking about products.
Yeah, I use these.
What was that? Sorry, Chris.
I use these.
And what are those?
Well, these are the AK Easy Cutting mats.
Ah, right. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, you get them in different styles, and you can cut things to different widths, and you can do radials and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, they work. Yeah, they work pretty good.
And they're like a hard plastic compound or something? Or?
Yeah, they're a plastic, Formica type thing.
And how much are those? You set you back?
Oh, geez. Off the top of my head, I'd be guessing. I got them in the UK from the UK, so I'm making about, for the two of them, I think it was about 50 pounds, all that.
Yeah.
So about $100 all that, including the postage.
Okay.
But I had a few other things in there as well. I ordered a big bulk thing.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously there's plenty of options out there then.
Yeah, from PM models.
Yeah, I think they're available from B&A, and the figure of about $25 comes to mind. Yeah, that's going for my somewhat flawed memory as well. Yeah, they're good. Good. I got a couple of them myself.
Yeah. I missed the start of the presentation, so I'm not sure whether you covered the masking solution at all.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Has anybody tried the more commercial type masking liquids that a painter would use on your window or something? Just out of interest.
No, I haven't.
The only reason I ask is with all things model related that they package in tiny amounts. We seem to be paying a premium for it, whereas I noticed, and I've only just quickly looked at one of them at Bunnings, for instance, is about $45 for a litre.
Okay.
Just curious as to how that would work if nobody's tried it then.
Yeah, Len.
Yo.
Jerry here.
Yes.
I've used, you can get a liquid masking fluid from art stores.
Yeah.
And I've used bottles of that. I've found that it actually works quite well.
Yeah.
But it goes off very quickly.
Oh, right.
I found that I would throw a bottle out with 90% of the liquid still in it, but it just gone to gunk. So
as in it doesn't dry, or it's
it dried in the bottle.
Oh,
so,
okay.
And that may have been me not sealing it properly, but
yeah,
I tried it twice, and I ended up wasting a lot of product.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point, and as this is coming from somebody that obviously hasn't used it, so yeah, more curious than anything else.
Yeah, I've made use of the blue masking tape that you can get that painters use, the thick blue masking tape. I use that quite a lot because it comes in different strengths. You can buy it in 7-day, 14-day, 21 and 28-day strengths, which means you can apply it to a model. And if you're anything like me, I can put my masking on one day, and then it might be a week before I get around to doing some spraying because of the weather conditions here in Bathurst. And if you get the 14-day stuff, then you can leave it on for 14 days and no residue comes off. And you can go up to 28-day tape. It's the blue commercial stuff, and it might cost $6 or $7, but you get 100 meters of the stuff, and it lasts forever. So that's something I've used.
Yeah, just on those, going back to that easy cutting mats, those ones.
Yep.
What did I got? I got one just recently, and it was $21.95.
Okay.
I ended up picking one of those up from Kmart, like a hobby thing one, and it was I think it's about A3 size, and it was only about $5 or $6. So next time anybody manages to escape the house and get out to Kmart, you just check where they've got their hobby stuff. You might just find one floating around.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks. Like I said, I've had no issues with glass, and it's cheap and it works as well. So
Yeah.
like I said before, those templates pretty straightforward to use. Either a sharp knife blade, which I cut a square out before, or just my round tipped panel line engraver for when I do need it to a circle or a round subject. That's when your pointy no pliers tweezers will easily pull that off then, and you can then simply apply it to model and mask away. If you need shapes stuff a little bit more complex, square templates, that stuff still works the same, or you can cut it to shape. I've got another important thing. The ruler is always handy. A small steel ruler, for cutting small strips of tape and stuff if you need to do finer stuff. Blue tack. There was a couple of questions on Facebook the other day because I think someone was having issues applying blue tack. I've never really had an issue. I'm not sure if you're not kneading it enough before applying. You do need to warm it up a bit. And then you can simply just roll it. Roll it into a sausage shape, I guess, to start with. Start applying your camo. And then, you can simply start, put it to shape, however shape you want then. And then, if it's not, you need to go around and find a detail, apply it, or you want to get that shape down. As I said, the applicator is good to push it down if you need to. You have it a little bit higher up. If you're careful the way you spray, you can kind of get a tiny feathered edge without it going overboard. So I don't know, I'm one of the fans that I don't think you're really going to see that feathered edge in the scales we build in either. And I usually just go for the hard edge. It looks better.
Do you have any trouble with it leaving an oily residue on a matte finish?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I don't. So I think the issue with blue tack, I think it's leaving residue and stuff. If you leave it on too long, it might give a slight sheen. Yes.
Yeah.
If I apply it and I paint within 24 to 48 hour window and then remove it, I don't have an issue. I think some people apply it. They might apply it one weekend, they're back at work for the week, and then they go to paint the next weekend, and then they might get a bit of issue then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't had oil come off when I've used it before, and this, it's a bit hard.
I've only found it leaves a residue on a matte paint.
Right. Okay. Well,
on gloss it doesn't.
Yeah,
that's
I've had the same problem, Graham.
Yep.
Matte paint, exactly that. So
yeah,
it is used with caution on that sort of surface.
That's a matte finish with blue tack, and
nice.
I can't get it to focus, but that was with blue tack, and there's no sheen because I've applied it, painted, and removed it nearly straight away.
That looks good.
I'm not sure if maybe it's the brand. If people might be using, I don't know, a different brand. I've always used just the normal blue tack brand, but
yeah, it could be.
The brand definitely will have a bearing on this because of different chemistry. And the other thing to be careful of, even if it's a different color in the same brand, blue tack themselves make it in a number of colors. That has varying chemistries as well. So it's really a case of stick to what works. Yeah,
and that's everything with modeling. Some products you'll appreciate more than others, and it will work for you, and others might not either. The Panzer Putty is pretty much the same principle as blue tack. It'll level self-leveling. Like once you chuck that chunk back in there, it'll eventually mold back into the rest and level out. Similar thing. Knead it to shape a little bit, get a little bit of heat into it, and then you can simply stretch it out and apply it. Apply as needed. It won't stick. It won't be. It will not stick to the model as much as blue tack will. So you do need to be careful once you've masked what you want to paint from bumping it and stuff. Like if you're trying to follow an exact pattern or something like that, or you've got multiple camouflage patterns or colors. Sorry. You're going to have to be careful that you don't bump Panzer Putty because it will come off quite easily from what you've applied it to. The really good thing about this, using the advantage of it not sticking as much. Obviously, if you're worried about oil, we spoke about before, it'll avoid that as well. But going around like smaller details and photo etch, stuff like that, it'll go over that. And if you're very careful, obviously pushing down not to break your edge parts off and stuff. And when you pull it back off, it'll quite happily go over that sort of stuff and not break parts off. In regards to that, like I said, Master is pretty self-explanatory. I haven't used that before. You literally just apply it with a paintbrush. Apply it with the paintbrush and then clean up with enamel thinners or odorless terps.
Oh, Pete Ray here. Just
Yep.
something else might be worth mentioning about the Panzer Putty is I don't think he really cares about the residue paint.
No, it doesn't. No.
Reuse it, so that's something else that works in its favour as well.
Yeah, so that is good point. Sorry, yeah, you'll get a lot more use, multiple use out of this than you will Blue Tack.
The Panzer Putty, is that basically the same as the SMS Putty?
Yes, sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry. Panzer Putty is just is a particular brand. SMS do a very similar product, which is exactly the same stuff. I haven't used the SMS stuff. I know other people have, and they've provided similar feedback about it, saying that it's pretty much the same stuff, just from a different manufacturer. I think there's another tin of stuff exactly the same getting around from AK as well now, or MIG, one of those other Spanish brands. It's exactly the same sort of stuff. A tin of that, I think, around the $15, $20 mark, and like Ray said, it's reusable compared to Blue Tack. It does give you less risk of residue, multiple reuse. But like I said, you got to be careful once you've applied it, the way you're handling your model and stuff, because if you bump it, it will come off quite easily.
Hey, Pete.
Yep.
I've used the SMS masking putty. I've used white tack or Yoo-hoo tack, and I've used blue tack, and I found that the Yoo-hoo tack was actually superior to the blue tack because it's a nice in-between. It doesn't leave an oily residue, or at least it didn't for me, on a matte surface. But the SMS masking putty, when I used that, what it did was it changed shape over time.
Yes,
So that's relaxed.
Correct. Yeah, I was going to say that's another important point. Like I said, I was talking about before. Like when you that chunk's already starting to that I pulled out, it's already starting to level out again. That's another thing you can't leave. For a long period of time. If you're trying to, if you want to, you're following a certain camouflage pattern, or you're putting colours over colours. That's something you do need to kind of apply and paint. That day, sort of stuff. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Just a general take on all this, actually, with any sort of masking tools is not limit yourself to one product, but actually get a variety of products with different advantages and use it to advantage. Keep an open mind and get a few products, and you'll find that certain situations will suit one more than the other.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, there's a lot of the canopy issues have been solved. Like a lot of there's a lot of masking sets and stuff out there now for B&A get a lot of them in for most manufacturing kits and stuff now, and they're $4, $5, $6, $7 sort of thing for an aircraft. By the time $6, $7 might add up, but the finish it'll give you, the ease of using it and stuff. Those products are really good now as well. I don't know if there's any questions, or someone wants to see something applied. I didn't do the.
Hey Peter, it's Pete Doughton here. I've got a couple of questions. Where'd you get your tweezers and your scissors from?
So these scissors are from Runway 13. They're actually etch scissors. But they will work. They cut tape, etch, whatever. But they're just a good size, nice small size. Like Jerry said before, he had a small set before. If you missed a rigging session as well, they're just a small, good small set of scissors essentially. Sewing shop, but they're from Runway 13. Sorry, what else? The tweezers are actually these are actually, I think they were Italeri ones that I picked up from Toy World. But like I said, there's nothing that special about them. They're just a good hardened, like the steel's like good hardened, like sort of steel. It's not I find that cheaper pointed ones, the tips will bend over time.
But they lock as well. Like
these do lock. Yeah, they got a slide lock.
That's good.
Yeah, which is quite handy. Quite handy when applying stuff as well. They were about 30, but they've they've lasted me good 4 or 5 years without damaging the tip. So while it was $30 and it's a lot for a set of tweezers up front, they've lasted me quite a long time without the tip getting bent and damaged, which I found with cheaper ones.
Yeah. Another question was taping. I'm building this Batmobile, which is probably the simplest kit in the world, but it's been fun. It's got stickers for the stripes. If you remember, the Batmobile had orange lines all around the edges, which was a thing that Barris did.
Yep.
Is there any way to practically do like pin striping on model cars? Is that something that's even possible, or is it just because you can imagine they're pretty fine lines?
Yep. I don't know if I can bring this photo up from yesterday. I actually masked tread patterns onto my C130 build, and that was simply by the short answer is yes, but it's just going to be time consuming, I guess. That's what I said with a good steel ruler, sharp knife blade, and a hard surface to cut on again, and you can get as good as your eyes and your hands are. I guess you can get quite
Sorry, who was that who asked the question, actually?
Smaller. That's like a hair strand. So
yeah.
So you can get those pinstripes done.
Yeah, who was the person who asked the question?
It's me, Peter. It's Pete Doughton.
So who?
It's Pete Doughton.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. Also, you may want defer that question till after Peter's presentation. I don't want to steal his thunder on this as well. But I also got some alternatives I can show you after that.
Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say very quickly that Infinitive Cutting mat that I goes from 0.4 to 1 millimetre.
Oh, so that's got grooves cut into it, does it, Bruce?
Yes, it's got grooves along it. So you put your where is it? You put your tape on the top.
Yep.
And then you just slide your scalpel along, and
fantastic. Yep. So it's essentially what I was doing with a knife and a steel ruler, but obviously you're going to be a lot more accurate with the pre-made tool like Bruce has showed you there.
I can just throw in some tools too.
Yep.
I got these from my doctor. These actually came from the doctor's surgery, and they were going to throw the whole lot out. So I've got and the little bit of blue on them, as you can see, that indicates that they're single-use stainless steel tools, and they simply throw them out after they've been used once. So I've got a little pair of surgical scissors, which are incredibly sharp and very fine, but were only used once in the doctor's surgery. And then these are artery clamps. So they've got a little what would you say? Little teeth that they grip like that, and they'll excellent for rigging, Jerry. They you grab your rigging wire and clamp them together, and they're just heavy enough to put a little bit of tension on things. So this one here is a curved one. Whoa, and this one here, if I can get it, is a straight one. And I simply asked my doctor or the nurses at the hospital at the surgery, and they said, "Yep, take as many as you want." So, if anyone's ever been to an APMA meeting, I was giving away hundreds of these things a few months ago, and then my dentist throws out his dental picks after a few months, and he was more than willing to pass them on to me. So, they're worth keeping in mind as very cheap, good quality stainless steel tools.
Excellent, thanks, Graham. And look, I was just applying that before. That's that new curving tape that I think mine's from that whole tape rule's from Peter Schulm at Runway 13. But that new tape there, that white stuff, allows you to do curves quite well. Bottom of camouflage patterns stuff before, kind of similar to, I think it was before lunch, someone had those scissors up from Office Works that allows you to do that kind of wavy camo pattern. That'll allow you to do that. Also good for like curved surfaces, like going around a fuselage and stuff like that, where the straight tape or an oval shape with multiple curves that'll allow you to get a straight line with one piece nearly, where this stuff here won't be as forgiving and stuff when you're trying to bend it and move it.
Where do you get that tape from, mate?
This tape, like I said, that reel is a number of companies that do it. I got that from Runway 13 from Peter Schum, but Tamiya do it now, and Vallejo do it as well. I've seen both of those at Toy World.
Okay, thank
you. Yeah, I guess that's probably about it. Is there any questions about plying anything, or is it?
Okay, I'll do my one and only commercial plug here, and so I don't. Just have a look at runway13.com.au or ask me any questions afterwards on those products. Thank you.
No dramas. Is there any? Got me here, or got any questions that we might be able to answer about masking before we wrap up?
Pete.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, one thing that I've done in the past is use the normal, sort of Tamiya tape rolled up into a roll, roll of varying diameters.
Yep.
And then I've had the camouflage patterns. I've had Paper Master printed off at the correct size to match whatever scale of aircraft. And then you put the tape along the edge of that, which, depending on how far back from the edge and how thick you make it, gives you a certain degree of hard edge, soft edge on your camouflage masking.
Yep. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, if you're able to do that, you can, photocopy or scan your instructions to the scale you're modelling in, and then cut the camouflage patterns out from that, and apply it with roll tape or the edges with blue tack and stuff, and that will save you taping off a large portion of area as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got about that technique as well. Thanks.
Yeah, Peter, have you ever tried doing the Berlin scheme for British Armour?
I personally haven't, no. A good friend, Clayton Ockerby, has from Sydney. He kind of cheated, I guess. He's what do you call him? They do a lot of like banners and design work and stuff for people, and he's got a cutting tool which allowed him to at his factory that allowed him to cut out a similar masking product to what I've been using on my C-130, and he just applied those squares and stuff to it. I think if you can't, it's just going to be straight tape essentially, because it's all square camouflage pattern, and you're just going to have to be careful applying the tape and the detail and stuff around your smaller detailed parts without damaging them.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, no, I've seen it where they've used business cards to blank off across certain sections, and then just building up so you've got the right colours, and going lighter to dark as you spray it on. But yeah, no, it's an interesting scheme.
Yeah. This is 148. I guess I was just showing like how fine you can get the edging and stuff with Panzer Putty. This was done with Panzer Putty as well. It's like very small, wavy, and sort of shapes. And as I said, like it's a very good product. But I think trying to do something like that freehand or with the airbrush, it just isn't going to happen. So I think masking is definitely a good skill to have and master. I think and it's a little bit time consuming, but you get a lot better finish by masking something, I think. I guess. So yeah, just wanted to finish with that. Let's see, is there any more questions or stuff?
Yeah, Pete, Jerry here. I was just going to throw one. I don't think you mentioned there's a relatively new tape, I think Tamiya do, which is a vinyl lining tape. I've got a roll that was about 1.5 mils, 2 mils wide.
Okay.
So it's got a quite nice, gentle adhesive on it.
Yeah.
Designed for this. And somebody asked a question about pinstripes for car models.
Yep.
That type of stuff would be ideal for it, because you can put a little bit of tension on it off the model, and it'll apply on a dead straight line.
Okay.
Or it curves really nicely.
Yep.
Because it's only a mil or two wide, you then follow it up with regular Tamiya tape.
Yep.
But you can get a lovely clean edge with that. I use it quite a lot these days for a small.
What size was that? 1 mil you can get it in?
I think I've seen it in 1 mil. I've got a roll of 2, and it's a white kind of vinyl material rather than the paper tape.
Yeah.
This is vinyl as well.
Yeah, I'll probably answer that questions about that because I'm quite familiar with the stuff. There's actually at least 3 manufacturers for that stuff. There's Tamiya, there's the Manhwa stuff, which what Peter demonstrated and I sell, and Vallejo also sell a similar product. So if you look at Peter's screen right now, the white curve tape is actually what that is.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, but the only people who make it in 1 millimeter is actually Vallejo. Tamiya makes it in 2 mil and above, and Manhwa, which is what I sell it in 3 mil and above in lots of different sizes. Well, people permitting, I will cover specifically about pinstriping because I've actually just got my Virgin Blue 737 out ready to show people. But there's actually some there's a lot of extreme subtleties when you're trying to do pinstriping that we don't encounter in other forms of masking. But I'll let people finish this discussion off first. And if people want to see some specific notes about pinstriping, then I can cover those off. So
I've picked this stuff up. This is 0.8 of a millimeter. As you can see, there's not much to it. And it's 0.8 of a millimeter. And I think this is the flexible white stuff you were talking about, Peter.
Yes, that is correct.
I got that from you. Yeah.
It's the same as this stuff.
Yeah, but this stuff's 0.8 of a millimeter, and I've got 1 millimeter and 1.5 as well. And it's brilliant for just starting things off and following canopy lines and things like that. It can actually be used for canopy framing. Just paint it the outside color and put it on and use it as framing for an aircraft canopy.
Yep. Yeah, we might have. Yeah, it's the same as Mr. before. That's the same, exactly what we're talking about. Like Jerry said, it's quite you can put a bit of tension and stuff on it. A bit of tension and stuff on it before pushing down and applying. Get your curves. It does curve quite. Quite. Hard to see there, but that's. You can get quite tight patterns and stuff with it without and that's all edged down. It comes to, I think, just pushing, using an applicator to push it down. Otherwise, there's a chance the paint and stuff will bleed under the edge when you're airbrushing and stuff. So while applying with a finger is good initially, it's always good to burnish. Burnish the edges with something like a toothpick's good as well. It's not going to scratch your model, or like a plastic applicator is good as well. Is any more questions? Is there anyone wanted to see anything demonstrated while we're here? No. Awesome. Thanks for everyone's for joining in. Thanks.
Okay, if people bear with me, I'll just go to the other room and turn off the recording. But then I will do just show very quickly for those who are interested about pinstriping.
Well, that sounds good, Peter.